they've chosen Frontiers again, which is interesting, right? Like sometimes you'd expect a change of map, but no, we're going for the exact same. I mean, it's basically a rematch.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
Yeah. And so one of the cool things about this is because it's the same map, because it's the same Immortals, you're going to get to see all those adjustments made in real time, right? So I think this probably does favor Hydra a little bit, because there was definitely that early section of the game where it was his to lose, and he did. You know, like he did have a huge advantage at one point. Like he was massively ahead, and between the hidden bases and not spending his Pyre quite efficiently enough, he did fall behind. And so now that he's probably going to adjust for those little tweaks, and possibly Santa's opening, because remember he did open Zakal's last time. I'm very interested to see what changes. You know,
the Zakal opening was just something wild, wasn't it? And I'd forgotten completely that we had that, and so I don't know that we're going to see that again, because it kind of worked. Like sniping those 2 buildings was huge.
I think it was.
I wanted to emphasize it more at the time, but it was so action packed I couldn't. But one of the buildings that went down was a Soul Foundry, which is the very clearly next step in the tech tree, and it could have been a Hallower. And as soon as you have a Hallower out against Zakal, an Absolver perhaps, but Absolvers can be run at from Zakal, so either way, it's very strong whatever comes out for changing the tide of play against Zakal's. I love the Zakal Incubator. I think that was absolutely okay. Yeah, we see the Murder Hollow, so it will be Icons coming out early, which is a sensible switch up, I think, because I wouldn't put it past Hydra to learn from the previous game and then adapt so correctly that you just don't find the same success. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see if this Icor kind of map control plays out how Santa Claus wanted it. We did see in that first game that did get remade that Santa tried to go from the Icor into Zakal, so we might see that same transition just with the Icor opening this time instead. We'll have to see. It's going to be an interesting one. It looks like Hydra's doing much the same so far.
Yeah. No, I think it's pretty standard. And I think it could be possibly that Hydra just feels like there were a couple of adjustments that need to be tightened up, and so going roughly in the same direction as before. I do think that, I might be wrong here, but the Soul Foundry does seem a bit further back this time, just in case. Like a couple of these key units are a bit safer, in case this rush does come through again, right? Like this. Because that's such a crisp little timing. I really like that, right? Like, hey, I'm going to come in here, I'm going to drop this. Obviously, if that Blood Bowl stayed up and a couple of other things changed, then
it might be lethal.
Yeah, but the fact that you could go in with the Zakal and do such good damage to those structures and kind of like really get a pretty big advantage, you know. In our game, those production structures also give you a population, right? So the amount of units you can have. So losing some of those can like limit your army, right?
It matters
a lot. It matters a lot, and then you got to spend the huge amount of money to get it all back because you're paying for that population supply, like.
Yeah, that's right. Like, when you see his entire diet, it feels very visceral. You're like, oh no, that's like 100 alloy gone, but then you see a building die. You got to remember that's like 250. That's like 2.5 Centauri go down in a fight. That it's impactful. A little bit of a steal here on this camp. I think Hydra's definitely going to track. Oh,
wait, it's a tower camp, of course.
It's a last hit camp. That's nice. Nicely kited away there from Santa. Unfortunately, the Zakala just now coming out, so he does get chased away and lose some Icor.
Yeah. He's
just going to be waiting for that Zakal critical mass, because I tell you what, 3 Icors and 2 Zakal do not win that fight.
Yeah. Zakal are one of those units that, and Zephyr, that's a strange matchup where they both shoot each other, kind of. Ooh, and can he get this around? He really wants to. Like, the workers are getting in that extra little DPS, but now there's Intaria here, and I think you have to pull back, because they're slightly better than workers. Yeah, the old Zentaria at tanking and dealing a lot of damage. Oh, here we go.
I'm a little bit worried for Santa here though, because like there's a lot of lost mining time.
Yeah, a huge amount of lost mining time, and that's a lot of Pyre, right? So it's actually kind of a good trade out for Hydra. He does get rebuffed though, right? Like, which is nice. So Santa can kind of stabilize to get the composition he needs to fight against these Zephyrs. Worthy Zakal is going to be really nice.
Yeah, having just that one tough Zakal definitely will help just kind of take those hits at the front line. I am a little worried though, because like that Icor opening, I don't think that quite got him what he wanted. Like I think he could have achieved almost the exact same thing with Hunters, and saved himself this whole tech step, because he would have had the Pyre camp on the left or the Pyre miner as well, and I guess at least Santa did claw the Pyre out of that minor camp in the end, despite having no control over it. But yeah, I really do think that Icor didn't give him too much there, and I'm not sure if he's going to actually go back into that technology later in the game.
No, I mean, you might see one as a run by, just because it's there. Because, you know, last game, there definitely was a couple of times where, like, a couple of thrums and a few units like this, just to force those towers or responses. And so it might be that the Icor sits in that position, right? Like, something you can just build a couple of and send off to the edges. So one thing I want to point out is that...
Oh, hidden base found immediately!
Yeah, he's not falling for that again.
Oh, Santa. Yeah. Oh, catches the Zephyrs micro though. 2 free Zephyrs, that's huge.
Loses the worthy Skull, and this fight I don't actually think he wins. Yeah, and so now he needs to pull back because he's getting free traded on. So this started out quite well, and now it's falling apart. The secret base needs to be cancelled, a bit close to it. But I was going to say Hydra's already put down his third base as well, right? And that's well on the way. So
scattered immediately.
Cancelled well. No, nice. That's good.
Yeah, I'd like to see what the next step is here for Santa, because it's just looking a little awkward, you know? Like, oh, it's the incubators again. Awesome. Okay, yeah, I like this. I think so far the strategy has looked really nice, because the Queedle tank so nicely for the Zakal, which sounds ridiculous, because Zakal is so tough, but the damage that, like, the damage type of the Zephyr makes it strong against heavy armor, and Queedle aren't heavy armored, and so the Zephyr hitting a Queedle will deal a lot less damage than if it hit a Zakal, and so it's a nice little way to buffer for your Zakal, which also are good against the Zephyrs.
Yeah, and with that armor upgrade, right, like it's the first couple of hits on the Zakal that really matter, right? They have durability while they have shield, and so like hitting into that shield and then hitting into a Queedle instead of hitting the soft fleshy Zakal underneath can be really frustrating. Oh, there are a couple of Icon mixed in, and I think this works, right? Like 1 or 2, when you have the tech, they're not super expensive. To just
I really like it.
Zentari a little harder.
Yeah. The Zentari are always going to be there, just a couple. It's a staple of the army.
Looks like these guys are actually sneaking in to the expansion. They're natural there. Is it just scouts or no? It's the They were just having a look. They just wanted to have a look. I was like, oh yeah.
No real openings there at the moment though. And so we'll have to wait and see, because it looks like Hydra's got some Zentari, and I wonder if Santa's got anything there to defend those. It's just getting the Pyre camps at the moment. Unfortunately, we haven't got a shot of it on screen, but it looks like there's some Zentari causing some real issues in Santa's natural.
Yeah. I think they've just been pushed off now. A couple of low symbiotes there. Yeah, it's an interesting one. There's a bit of a knife edge feel to it, if you know what I mean. It definitely is this kind of
getting caught.
Oh, run! Never mind. They're a bit fragile. No, enough of that. It's not going to happen again. Puts a mine down as well with the old Dervish. Putting a mine down there.
I'm glad to see a Citadel going down there. We need to see more usage and more expansion of these kind of things early.
Yeah, I think taking those critical positions, because I think not using Pyre in that last game was one thing, and then spamming out all of your Pyre in one kind of big clump in the middle was probably like less efficient. But I want to see these considered, like, consistent positions held with these Citadels, because I think it's going to be a huge benefit to them.
Yeah, I already like Hydra's Citadel placement way more. You can see a line on the minimap where there's the starting one, the one that's going down there at the top. As we're seeing on the screen here, there's a defensive line being set up, and it's beautiful. It's going to give such nice map control of that right side, which he really struggled to hold in the last game. Yeah,
and being able to push anywhere, you're going to run into a Citadel.
3 Angelarium! Throne transition?
Whew! There's a lot of Angelariums.
That's a huge scout for Santa. That could not have been a bigger scout. That's like really massive. That Hydra's trying to get up to something. He's not hanging around on low tech. So Santa's trying to make something happen here, but
chipping away.
It's going to be tough.
Blood Well going down.
I love the position. The Blood Well going down. The Empire Unbroken just in time to save this. Might be a little too late, but no, it looks like just enough.
The Resonance to target it? No, they're pulling damage, off. Oh, it's gonna heal in a second. Oh, just in time. So it's gonna soak up that little bit more DPS, right? And a couple more free shots for the Zephyrs. So that's actually so huge. The Empire Unbroken coming in very clutch. And now the Thrones are on the way. And how much can Santa do? And what has he got to deal with it? He's got 1 Wraith Bow in production.
Who needs to shoot up,
right?
Is he not fully clued in yet? Maybe like
doesn't know
it's
that
tough
it's
to call.
Thrones.
Hopefully, we'll see some more Wraith Bows on the way soon, or maybe even some A-Rocks. But I do love what Santa's done here. That Bloodwell and then taking such a determined fight does mean that he had a lot of Pyre to work with, and we can see that going down with the Grove Guardian now. And he also does have enough for a Red Harvest, and I like that Red Harvest just preventative, you know, just to force him back. And because I think if that Grove Guardian goes up and the second Bloodwell goes up, it doesn't matter. I think that was a critical Red Harvest to buy time. However, the Thrones are out.
Yeah, the Holy Host is rolling up, and there's just not that much that shoots up. And Santa's, I think,
there is in fact nothing. There's one Wraith.
Yeah, cancel that. Maybe cancel that Bloodwell too. Like, yeah, I don't think he realized it was Thrones. I think he was worried of something else.
That's so unfortunate because Santa could see smell the blood in the water, thinking like, "Hey, look, I'm against Zephyr and I've got all these residents. This is feeling super powerful." But we're gonna need to see a big transition here. It's gonna be, oh my god, the symbiote again.
Oh my god, Santa symbiotes. Santa workers are just built different, right? Look at them go.
Santa workers get just so much
wind
work
stepped
done.
on. Look at the amount of respect.
I love these from as well. Like there's so much going on here that's like just beautiful from Santa. If he goes hardcore into anti-air, I think he'll be okay. Because the Resident are such good counters to the Zephyrs, and he's already got such a nice foundation for his army. I'm just a little bit worried that there's a crazy position here that the Thrones find into the main. Oh, they're not going for it. Okay.
They're not going for it. There are A-Rocks on the way, but not enough. That's not going to be enough to kill these units, and he's going to make sure that this production actually comes up. Because if it doesn't, and he's on top of all these anti-air units as they come out, he's never going to hit the critical mass needed to actually kill these Thrones.
Well, the timing on that was
off. Yeah, I think
close enough.
He probably could have stayed, but they were scared off.
Well, you do want to keep your throne counts high, because as you get that high throne count, it does get just ridiculous. Like if you can slam down a full array of Blades of the Godhead, it just makes it so hard for someone to fight.
Really hard to keep up with that DPS. Blades of the Godhead.
A lot of Pyre available here. Oh, a little Blood Plague down on the Thrones. We've seen a lot of that damage ticking.
Yeah, Blood Plague really good doing percentage damage, right? Like ticking through.
Oh wait, no, we're Marla.
No
wait, what was causing that? Oh, it was the Wraith Bows ticking. My mistake. It was the Wraith Bow extra damage. I was seeing the Thrones taking a lot of damage. I was like, what is that?
Single Thrum, the dream.
Yeah, single Thrum harass, brilliant.
Doing no damage at all to a whole lot of modes.
Got to be dealt with though, you know. It takes multitasking attention.
No, this is Zephyr, like a couple of meters away, doing nothing.
Oh, I love this. The Fire Singer and the extra Citadels going down in the middle. I'm really enjoying Hydra's use of his Pyre this game. It's looking so much better. I'm worried that Santa's boxed himself into a corner here. It might be a fight that's worth taking if he's got enough anti-air, but the Thrones are going to kite over that high ground. They might pick off those the Residents down the bottom.
So he could Red Harvest and dive under that if he had a good angle to be under the Thrones. But as it is, because they're playing that ledge there, it's kind of hard to get a good angle. Oh, he's going to get that throne. He's got...
Oh man.
Look at that guy.
I would love to see Hydra throw in just a couple of Sharu, because the game at the moment is Santa needs to dive at the Thrones. And so a Sharu to just throw those kind of counter-kiting ore strikes would be amazing.
I think it's not the only thing Santa can do, right? He can also keep him busy. Thrones are slow, right? And the our army is reasonably fast. And so if he can keep Hydra like busy, poking around these other bases, right? Because you did talk about that line of citadels before, but it's not extending past those two right side bases anymore, right? Like Santa's cleared that out, and so that's now vulnerable again. And so like I think threatening the main and threatening these bases on the side in those positions is kind of another way that Santa can keep Hydra busy. But he needs to be pressuring all the time, because as soon as he doesn't, this happens, and Hydra's going to pull forward with that huge white and gold fleet of Thrones and just start raining swords down.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a scary sight, especially if you look away for one moment and all those Blades of the Godhead hit.
There's one.
Your army evaporates. It's truly
it's
scary. I'm also wary of Hydra not expanding quite as much as he probably should. When you're playing Orzum and your job is #expand the Empire, You've just got to be doing it. You've just got to
Yeah.
slap that base down because it's one of the best things as an Auzoom player. When they go to take one of the mountain, you just Empire Unbroken and say, not today, friend. It's really like, you have to be doing it a lot and putting the pressure on the other player to come to you and sort it out.
Oof.
Oh, there goes the blades. Forces him back off the Ancient, but none of them really connected, so now there's a nice opportunity for Sander to come back in.
Another set of blades. There's so many thrones. So Blades the God has a long cooldown and it lowers the damage of the throne afterwards. So, you know, there's a window there. But, oh, there's just so many. You can just keep casting them over and over. And Sander's even getting caught on them. Even a couple of A-Rocks on the side. Shaving off a couple of thrones here. I think it's not bad. It's hard to judge these fights because, you know,
So
Santa will lose a
thrones.
couple of masked hunters here and there. But then, God, there's so many thrones. He's just going to A-move at some point, right? I think this might be it.
Well, I think Sen has such a good counter army. I would love to see some more Dread Sisters for the Root Vice. I think if you Root Vice a few of these thrones, they just die. And I don't think he's added any in just because Burning Storm is weak versus thrones, and that's the kind of iconic spell that you think of. But, like, truly, if you get a... oh, here come more blades. It's like, cooldown's up. Oh, back you go, Santa.
Oh, he's walked into a lot of them. Santa's taken so much damage just from accidentally getting hit by these, and he's trying to dive on top, but he hasn't got the Red Harvest, and there's so many Blades of the God here, just smashing through his entire army. He's still got a bit left, and the thrones are in danger now that they've cast all their spells, but I don't know if it's enough to get through the amount of health that the thrones have.
He's focus firing well, but so much of damage was eaten by the Ancient there. That could have been a game-losing fight from Santa, because trying to attack past the Ancient, of course, a lot of your units just attack the Ancient, given that it's right there and a threat. That was just such a tough fight for Santa to take. I'm a little bit worried now. Like, he had really nice economy, but his population is so low all of a sudden. And
look at this guy go.
That?
I love him. Look at him. Oh, he just got killed by a throne by accident, so he's gonna run to the Absolver and
no.
Yeah, okay. Definitely a fight to be made. So one of the things here that has kind of worked is that the Bloodwell is here to farm up a lot of Pyre on death and keep healing up these units, right? To make these trades a bit more palatable, right? So Santa's got a load of Pyre right now, and it's way easier to be aggressive with Pyre on Mala, right? A lot of Auzoom's Pyre has to be directed at defensive pursuits, like putting down heaps of Citadels and Empire Unbroken. You can pillar once every 2 minutes, but for the most part, you can't be like as dangerous as you can with Mala. So having the Pyre on Mala, I think is better right now, and that Bloodwell, that single Bloodwell has paid for itself, I think, twice over.
I would love to see just a ridiculous number of A-Rocks at this point. Because...
I know what you mean.
Like, it's not ideal in small numbers when you run in with A-Rocks first and a few swords shoot down a few of the A-Rocks and you don't really get the value you're looking for. But if you have your whole army running in at the same time, taking the initial shots, and then you have like a truly like 20 A-Rocks, like a crazy number flying in, that's when I think you can get a just crazy win. Oh, that's an awkward position. If the blades come out, I could eat him.
Oh, it's getting
nicely maneuvered by Santa to avoid it.
He's dodged most of it, yeah. Oh, a few more. This is the thing, like this. Oh, Rain of Blood. The Mala shows up there and explodes an orb of blood in her hand. Rain of Blood's coming down. That's going to give a whole lot of health and mana to all of his units. And there's one Dread Sister hanging out in the pack. Red Harvest coming down, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. They're shaving away these thrones when they can get on top of them really fast. Empire Unbroken, a lot of damage getting sunk into the Citadel accidentally. Needs to target fire those thrones with those huge pack of Wraith Bows. Rain of Blood is helping, but a lot of units are just getting vanished instantly. Due to the oh, okay, the Zephyr's going to jump across the tower top. They're going to pin them in place. Blades of Godhead going to get all the units that are trapped here in this little arena. And is it going to be enough? Not quite. He hasn't quite got enough to get that armor, and he doesn't really want to sit on top of that with the thrones because they just die so fast with all those Wraith Bows. And every throne is very expensive.
Oh man, this is so crazy. Like, I kind of feel like Santa's making progress because he's slowly getting the better counters, but his population is so low. 160 to 100 now. Look at the Angelariums! Oh so my god, there's so many.
And this is the move that I think Hydra needed to threaten a long time ago. Because now, with that clip,
and this is why
that is such a huge walk around. It is so hard to get back up there. His army is going to try and run the whole way back around.
I think counterattack has to be the play, right? It's just too risky here otherwise. Like,
yeah, you're going to lose all the production.
He's going to try trap them with like a little bit of units on both sides, but I just don't see this working out. Like, there's not enough units to threaten thrones.
Now
Santa might just get pulled apart here.
Yeah, this cliff is so dangerous with those powerful late game like capital ship units, right? Like just being able to go up and threaten even one throne in that main is going to be a massive threat. Yeah, and the Blades of the God here. The thing is, this army can fight those thrones. They just have to wait till the spells are gone. But he's got so many consecutive casts, he can just zone them out. There's no way he can move his army in and just attack move, right?
Yeah, you'd need a nice open space, and Hydra's done such a good job of forcing fights in awkward spaces, you know? Like, Santa committed in the ramp with the Ancient, very narrow. Santa trying to fight outside his base here at the 4th, very narrow. If Santa ever got a fight in open space, I think it'd be all over, but, I mean, to take a fight in open space now, you would have to run through 6 Citadels, probably. I just don't really see an avenue to do it. The Aerox count is getting there, but it's just not quite high enough, and I'm not sure if he has the production for it even. Like, he has the Ether available, but it's tough to know what to put your money into at times like these.
And when you decide to go, because these Aerox, I think, a bit too far out, I think you need more to use those Aerox. I think they need to be held back a bit, and you need to get that really critical mass, but that's a very hard thing to do, like you're saying. If you've only got, like, one bone canopy, yeah, it looks like...
Nice.
Oh, you got two, another one on the way. A whole lot of them coming out, one after the other. Yeah, I think it's hitting that point.
Yeah, it was a production issue. Yeah, we definitely... I love to see more Aerox here. I would also love to see more units split off, because one throne is nowhere near as scary as the fleet of thrones. And so, if you split apart like a pack of hunters and wraithbows, you can get a fair amount done with those, because they really are threatening to those throne units when they can dive on in. And, oh, this is really nice by Hydra, expanding these citadels all the way down, reaching to that base.
That one pillar's still there.
Yeah. It looks like an awkward spot, but thrones could easily fly over that and cause some real issues. Oh, he's not really watching the Aerox.
Ooh, not quite enough. A couple of those thrones are a bit further out, so there's not a huge splash. Only shaved off a few there. Still nice to get that number,
up with the root vice.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. But that's really hard. That's such a very big burden on Santa execution-wise, right? Like, you have to have these spellcasters in this position in a different control group with all these Aerox, and then you need to engage with them while also not getting hit by Blades of the Godhead in any meaningful way. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to manage. All the thrones are going home, which is hilarious because there's like 5 hunters there, and this is the kind of faster units moving around the map, right? Now, you know, Hydra realizes a little too late. Oh, that's actually not an attack. That's just some random hunters been hanging around. Single pillar coming down. That's
love the preemptive pillar.
Pillar early? No, it's not gonna happen. Oh, Blades of the Godhead to catch the retreat. He's getting the entire army. The whole thing just vanishes in an instant. Oh my god.
Oh my god, that was insane.
Craft player. Yikes. That's
gotta be it. That is just incredible usage of the throne abilities.
Absolutely disgusting.
Oh my gosh. That's disgusting. That was the fight that it was all building to, and Hydra just obliterates it with this one massive fight.
That is wild.